That's how I feel.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Brandon?
Good, good. Welcome, Mark, to the Gnostic Deluge.
Here we are once
Once
again,
again, we're
ready
here.
to dive into the deep end
Yeah,
of the deluge.
we're going down a few rabbit holes. Probably we'll see how many we go down. But yeah, we got a
You
we
think
got a
this one
topic
doesn't have a
today.
lot of rabbit holes, does
No,
it?
I can't foresee rabbit holes on this one. This is we're going over chapter 11 of the Kybalion, and it's on rhythm.
Rhythm.
The principle of rhythm is the fifth Hermetic principle.
This one's on rhythm. Hopefully, it doesn't give you the blues.
Oh, it's
The
gonna be
rhythm
hard
and
not to. It's gonna be
blues.
hard not to.
Dude, whenever that rhythm gets going, you can't help but dance. At least that's what they say. Anyway, and this episode's brought to you by Virgil's Zero Sugar Root Beer.
I'll take one of those too.
Brandon brought. You got him in the bottle.
Yeah.
So
Thank goodness for erythritol, stevia, and monk fruit.
thank goodness. You know, why did I think that these actually had some kind of calories in them? Oh no, because they have.
They taste so good.
Yeah. Dang it. How'd you do that, Brandon?
I had to use a towel.
Use my shirt.
I hate the bottle caps that are supposed to be unscrutable, but they hurt to do it.
Yeah. It's like. Hey.
At home, I just use the.
What letter did you get? A V? I got an I.
Oh, I didn't realize I did that. Yeah, that's right. You can spell the name.
Yeah.
I wonder if you win a.
You'd have to get a one.
Wonder if one of people would try and spell the whole name.
7.
And do you think there's an apostrophe on one of them?
I don't know.
Hey, do you remember when you remember back in the we were close to the same age? Remember back in the 80s
Don't
and
even bring
90s?
up Tootsie Roll Pops.
Yeah, that's what I was
Indian
gonna do.
Shooting the Star.
Yeah, how did you know I was gonna go there? Probably because the whole gimmick of the lid.
Yeah, that was like the biggest thing. Supposedly, you could, if you had the full Indian Shooting the Star, you could take it into the store, and they'd give you a free lollipop.
Did you ever do that?
You
I
know
never
what?
did.
I don't know if I did or not. For some reason, I imagine that it did happen, but that might be just a false memory.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of like, yeah.
Do you think that was a real thing? Do you think it's a real thing that happened?
It's like the legend. It's one of those legends that go around.
I wonder
like,
if
dude, you got an Indian Shooting a Star. But then later on, when we got older, all of a sudden, Indian Shooting the Star was on there on almost all the rappers.
It's almost like the company, whoever owns Tootsie Roll, whether maybe it's Nestle or something like that, but whoever owns a company, they figured out that people really wanted the Indian Shooting Stars. It's like we can make our product better by having all of the rappers have an Indian.
Yeah,
Shooting
and then
Star.
it becomes not as special.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, I'm just saying because it was a big deal. Like, you got an Indian Shooting a Star. So basically, there's this Indian and traditional,
Native American Indian.
yeah, with a feather head.
Yeah.
And he's got a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And then there's this star out there, so he's aiming at this star. And the rumor was that if you got a wrapper, the Tootsie Roll Pop, and you open it up, and you there's all these different characters. If you got one with that on it, you could go to the store like Circle K.
Yeah, which.
And you'd give it to them, and you would get a free Tootsie Roll Pop. You know what? Let's talk about how Tootsie Roll is a very underrated. It's one that I used to, when I was a kid, I used to actually get disappointed, especially trick or treating and getting them.
No, you're right. I think I did too.
But then now that I've gotten older, Tootsie Rolls are so good.
Yeah.
And then there's these Tootsie Roll, like these fruit chews.
Yeah. Same brand.
My wife and son are like in love with them.
Are they?
Yeah. They're like they're good too.
Yeah.
Tootsie Roll, but they're fruit chews. They come in a bigger bag.
Yeah, I love
and
those
they're not wrapped individually. Anyway. They're good. So Tootsie Roll, an old classic.
They get them that are not wrapped individually? They get the ones that are not wrapped individually?
Well, these are different. They're fruit chews, and they're basically they have like kind of a hard
Oh,
a
I
harder
don't know
candy
these.
crust.
I don't know
They're
these.
good. You should
I
go.
thought you were referring to like the Tootsie Rolls.
No,
Or the fruit flavors.
They have they have those too, and those are individual, and they have a vanilla one in there too for some reason. My wife actually last night she's like, "Did you eat all the vanilla ones?"
I love the blue ones.
Yeah,
So,
and I was like, "I haven't even eaten those." No.
so the thing, you know what we should do is go down and get an Indian shooting star wrapper from a Tootsie Roll Pop, and then take it to like get like a hidden camera and take it to like a Circle K.
Yeah.
And ask to redeem.
I wonder if I'm gonna look into that.
If it was ever a real thing.
Yeah. Because
probably
it was this weird rumor.
Yeah, it was probably some like soda shop in the Midwest that they did it, and
Yeah. That could have been. Yeah.
Spread.
And then all of a sudden it spread, and kids just being kids was like would never do it, but we'd be like, oh sweet, I gotta.
Yeah.
Anyway. So today we're talking about the principle of rhythm, like we said.
Rhythm.
And this one will not give you the blues. I'm gonna keep.
I think you said that already too.
I know. I said.
Hey, let me read the maxim here.
Okay, read it nice and.
Maxim, is it maxim?
Axiom.
Axiom. Maxim's a magazine.
I was a subscriber. No.
Did you?
No, but it was Anyway, it always have sexy girls on the cover.
Yeah, Maxim.
Yep. Not that I ever saw it, but
no, I've never even seen that before. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates.
All right.
That's probably one of my favorite aphorisms.
Really?
Right there. It's not. This is not my favorite
aphorism.
Axiom, aphorism. Someone's gonna correct us in the comments.
I
right?
got a dictionary here, actually.
Well, good luck, because the definitions are pretty close to the same thing.
But an aphorism, I thought that was something that you would like repeat to I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh dang it, people like me.
That's an affirmation.
Oh. How would you spell aphorism?
APHOR.
APH? Oh, dang it. I was going to say.
Yeah.
APH. Yeah, why do they make these ones so...
I think they're the same word. Almost.
They have apothecary.
Oh, is aphorism not in there?
No, it might be.
What kind of dictionary is that, Mark?
Well, it's a small one, as you might be able to tell. APH.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I can't imagine it being AF.
Well, anyway, whatever.
Hey, but anyways, I like it in like the poetic sense, not because of like the what it, you know what I'm saying.
Rhythm compensates.
Yeah, I love the whole like the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left.
It's almost like a little poem.
Yeah, rhythm compensates.
Yeah, it almost like moves you. You know, like as the rhythm.
See, it's deep,
it almost has its own little rhythm
it's
to
deep.
it. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, so I have written here, in everything there is manifested a measured motion. In everything. To and from, flow and inflow, ebb and flow, forward and backward. And these are all between two poles, manifest on a physical, mental, and spiritual planes. There's always this flow that's going on. That Lawson, like the clock, like a pendulum. Or throwing a ball up.
Yeah.
What goes up must come down.
Oh. Yeah. No, I like this. I like this one.
It reminded me, I have of Newton's third law. To everything there's an equal and opposite reaction, or every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, basically.
Exactly. That's exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah. So, and I don't think that one's been disproven. I don't, some of the stuff was sure, is antiquated or whatever.
Exactly.
But that one's like, if something hits something, there's going to be a reaction to, compensate it. or that's gonna automatically happen.
So one of the first things that this talks about is, the just like if you imagine the imagery of the pendulum swinging and it's between the two poles, right?
Yeah.
On polarity, but that it rarely the swing rarely reaches the extremes of the poles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, in the last chapter on polarity, one of the ways it does talk about how one of the ways we can protect ourselves from rhythm is by achieving the extremes. Did you catch that part?
I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, there was a part in polarity where
Dang
it's,
it.
yeah.
Oh, with the positive and negative? Was that what it was?
It was talking about how, yeah, like getting to the extreme of a pull. One of the ways to protect yourself from the inevitable like rhythm, is to like find yourself at an extreme.
Oh, but that's in this one, Brandon.
It was mentioned in the last one too.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, let's go on with this one then. Let's continue on this one. Then.
okay. Well, but it's like, yeah, like you said though, just because it's a pendulum swinging, it's not going to the furthest end. To the furthest end, it could be little movements, but if it moves one way, it's inevitably going to swing. That seems like that much or that far, however far it went the other way.
So, for example, if we use an example that we gave on polarity, for right here where we're at in Arizona, at this time of year, the pendulum swing basically goes from about, at the very coolest part of the day, it's like in the low 80s and in the middle of the night probably, or maybe the mid 80s, to the hundreds. And it just like the pendulum swings.
Yeah.
And we have this rhythm where every day we're basically shifting
hotter
from
and hotter.
shifting from the mid 80s at the very coolest to the 110 115s.
Yeah.
And that pendulum over time moves because that pendulum is also on a pendulum. So that throughout the year the pendulum moves, and it's
the weather
will
cycle
will be shifting between the 30s up to the 70s.
Well, to kind of go, along the lines, there's action and reaction. I'm gonna use a lot of these because they're good little.
Okay.
Advance and retreat. So it's like, this isn't quite the polarity. This is just like you're moving towards, you move away.
Yeah.
Rising and sinking. So these are all things that this is a phenomena of the universe manifests in creation or destruction of worlds, the rise and fall of nations, etc. So this is just trying to get an idea of what they're talking about with rhythm.
Yeah, I like that, the whole rise and fall of nations part, the destructions of worlds.
Yeah.
Basically what the cyclical nature that, that we talk about sometimes just cycles on and on.
Yeah, it's like actually a cycle is a good thing also with along the lines of rhythm.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
like all worlds, living things are born, grow, die.
Yep.
But are eventually reborn.
Yeah, they return.
One of the best things that they had in here was talked about the sun,
and how when it dies, it's the matter returns. And
I thought that was so cool because
it mentions that for the Earth too.
Where the heck is that? Golly.
It mentions that for the Earth.
Suns spring into being, and then their height of power being reached, the process of retrogression begins.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
See, so this isn't like a quick swing either necessarily. So it begins retrogression, and after eons, they become dead masses of matter, awaiting another impulse, which starts again their inner energies into activity and new solar life cycle is begun. So one of the big things in this is like it's not necessarily a fast swing either. Actually, this is probably important. You know, it's not like all of a sudden it's swinging up here and it's all of a sudden boom, it's to the other side. You know, it's most of the time it's a very gradual swing that if you knew how to look for it, you could see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
This is the power of the Hermetics right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like, just like with the weather that you're talking about, the summer and the winter, you know, whenever it's the spring, the leaves are shooting forth and all this new life. The summer's the time to kind of harvest into, or actually, we'll just say harvest. You know, you're growing throughout the spring and summer. You're harvesting in the fall, but it's starting to get cold.
Yep.
You know, but the food's ready just in time to get it stored up and to lay away for the winter time. So, but you've had time. It's not like all of a sudden,
Correct.
boom, boom. You know,
Correct.
It's winter. Sometimes there are freaks of nature. You know, freak of nature will happen where a winter storm or whatever will. But most of the time, it's a rhythm and a slow rhythm that you can. Like, if you think of rhythm, you can actually dance to it. If you, you know, where you can actually move with it, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I totally agree.
It's not a quick thing.
No, exactly.
You can see it coming, and then you'll see it, and then once you see it once, you can be like, you know, like year after year, you'd be like, this is the way it works.
One of the things I think is funny is we use this. What's this little term we use? It's like this cliche. What is it? Trick me once, fool
me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, by this point you've been introduced to pattern. If you're not ready for it the next time, then it's kind of, you know.
Yeah, it's like, well, you didn't learn the first time.
Yeah, and so
fool me 3 times.
And I think a lot of times certain things in life is just so, it's the rhythm. The rhythm is so normal that, you know, people usually aren't like they're not like not ready for the wintertime. You know, because it's such a standard.
Yeah.
But like, there's other things like rise and fall in like an economy, for example.
Yeah. Oh, this is where. Yeah.
And
or
so
most rise and fall of nations.
Correct. And so most people,
it's a lot slower moving thing most of the time.
So rise and fall of nations is a little bit bigger, but let's say an economy right here. In our lifetime, we've witnessed this happen like 2 or 3 times where like everything just like goes down the drain economy wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're always like, oh man, but the smart people were actually like getting ready for this, you know, this like whatever we decide to call it, recession, depression, whatever. And the smart people,
it's a boom and bust kind of thing.
Yeah, smart people like, oh, they prepare and they save for the rainy day, mm-hmm. and they store up because they understand that according to rhythm, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
And then of course now the rise and fall of nations is a little more scary.
You're like, what is going on? Like, yeah.
And you look at the history books and you can say, wow, we've been a nation, we've been a happy, safe place for 300, 250.
Dude, can't we just get another 100 years out of this bad boy?
Yeah, but and here's the problem: is everybody thinks that they can. Like, no, we're not. We're gonna change, and we're not gonna be the ones that fall after 300. You know.
Well, the thing is that there will be, inevitably it'll happen eventually. I mean, it's just even Rome, you know, the 1,000-year reign.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. Even in that, it had ebbs and flows, and then eventually it just went away, man.
Yeah.
But it was a long time in coming.
I liked the. If you're ready to move on to the next part, can I?
Yeah.
I liked the.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Diet Dr. Pepper's pretty tasty. I like this spiritual interpretation of it.
Okay.
You know, after it mentions the rise and fall of nations and you know, earths and suns, it mentions that like beginning with the manifestations of spirit of the all, it will be noticed that there is ever the outpouring and the indrawing,
Oh
the
yeah.
outbreathing and
You know,
inbreathing of Brahm.
it's funny because I kind of skipped that part, but
Yeah,
it was cool, but I just didn't write it down. So
yeah,
okay.
yeah. As the Brahmins worded it, the inhalation,
Yeah,
exhalation.
keep going with it. This is actually a really
Universes are created, reach their extreme low point of materiality, and then begin their upward swing. This is what you read. This is when
oh okay.
sun spring into being. But when it comes to the sun springing into being, and then their power is reached, and the retrogression begins, uh, in a spiritual manner, it's almost like this is at the it's almost like these things happen at the same rhythm of like a greater being
Just
breathing.
breathing.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're just on God's breath.
yeah.
You're like just hoping he doesn't breathe back in because we get sucked back
Take
in.
a deep breath,
Like,
man.
do not sneeze. Do not sneeze, please. Anyway.
Yes. And I liked that how you get the sense of this is referring to how the Brahmins worded it, which is ancient, Vedic Indian religious perspective. So people have seen this principle of rhythm. This is a principle that is beyond time and space, right? Everybody's noticed it. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, if you think about even there's some traditions actually we've talked about with the it was a Native American one where they're talking about the comet.
Yeah.
Called whitetail what was it? Anyway, this that would return again, and
it brings doom.
Bring a change.
A change.
Or destruction, but
yeah,
a change to the world that this had happened in the cycle, that this wasn't the first and time. This won't be the last time either.
Yeah,
but it's some if you look into some, it's like a 25,000 year cycle, whatever.
12,000 year cycles. All these different like rhythms that we can see.
Yeah. And there's these big rhythms going on around us that we don't even know, and you have to have a huge, like, even to be able to record the precession of the earth, right, where it's like wobbling back and forth. Each degree of wobble takes 72 years to be able to figure out. So and this anyway, I don't, but
science.
They were able to record this procession back in Egyptian times, and
right.
and Greek, and I mean, so these guys were super patient, and I mean, so we're talking about something that lasts beyond your life for Correct. 1 degree of precession to see Correct. This happen. Yeah, anyway,
that's cool.
But okay, now I'm going off on, but it's just an interesting thing that there's all these huge processions or rhythms going on that we don't even see and understand. So we need to pay attention to things that we can. There's a lot of stuff that we can see and we can learn from,
So a few episodes ago we talked about I don't remember to what degree we did, but I remember talking about how how there's with the zodiac and how this system that was created affects how things work here. I mentioned the no random, how there's like an invisible seed that affects everything, and that's how like the tarot deck works. And
you're like the same thing that's affecting your life is affecting the cards. That was interesting. I was like, that actually kind of makes sense.
And so that's what I thought about with this whole like nations rising and falling. It's like we're all like subject to the same variables that we can't really understand or see, but they're like the breath. You just imagine like the high level spiritual way of looking at it, just the inhalation and exhalation of God. Like it's affecting everything, and it trickles down, and then we see these things happen, and we see these mini rhythms happen, but the mini rhythms are actually really sub rhythms of larger
Yeah.
rhythms and
Yeah, it's all connected. I guess correspondence.
butterfly effect way, and everything's just connected.
Yeah.
And so we go, oh, it's about time this happens. It's like, but a someone who sits there and spends their time observing the stars and observing patterns and, this whole imagery of this old, hermetic type of guy with a wizard hat and spending a time like reading through books and chronicling histories and predicting that there's going to be a great disaster happening soon and
like Nostradamus or something.
Correct. Yeah.
But I guess it goes back to that thing, correspondence, and the whole thing about the knowing the monad and the archangel.
Exactly. Exactly. Those
Yeah.
are, yep.
But right now we're just concerned with the monad, our own little monad.
Oh, our own little monad.
That's one of the big things too, though, is that a lot of times we as humans want to jump to the bigger thing, and we don't even understand the littler thing.
And that's what you mentioned. Was it the last episode you mentioned it, or was it between episodes?
Oh yeah,
you mentioned how like
let me do the quote again.
Go for it.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
How can you know anything of life and the universe around you when you know nothing of your true self?
So that's in that case, instead of us focusing on the monad, we're actually focusing on the archangel.
Yeah.
Trying to understand the archangel without even trying to understand the monad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. Maybe we're going off on.
No, this is relevant.
All right. Let's see what I got here. There's no such thing as absolute rest or cessation of movement, and all movement partakes of rhythm. Rhythm carries over into manifestation and influence to the mental activities of man. Okay, this is where we're kind of talking about seasons and God's breathing, but it also carries over into our own. This is where it gets good. Then this is where it gets into understanding ourselves. Actually, good thing you brought up that quote, because all this stuff, the seasons and the cycles, cyclical. This is more of a cycle.
Cyclical.
I mean, that pendulum's actually going.
Yeah.
But
it's like swinging around.
Like my clock is not working right.
It's like you're waiting for it to come back from that direction. And you're like, what? It's coming back.
But the swing back and forth. I guess it's the swing back and forth. But so it carries over into the mental activities, and this is where actually looking at that the bigger thing can help us with our minds too. It accounts for our succession of moods and feelings. We can see this in our own lives. What else? So it works for us too. Like if you're in a good mood, you'll probably be in a bad mood. You'll have that swing.
Exactly. And you have to, and so but knowing that though allows you to neutralize it. Right? Mm-hmm. Being aware of the rhythm allows you to neutralize it.
Yeah, but one thing though that's important to remember is that if you've never been to the other side, swung the other way,
sure,
you wouldn't even know the good. This is kind of back to
we mentioned
the other thing, but I'm saying, and they go into this talking about past lives and stuff, that there's always this swing, but it could take lifetimes for it to swing back the other way. Anyway, I don't want to.
I just thought of something. This has got a little bonus here.
Oh, sweet.
That I don't know if you've gotten to this, if you've gotten to this part or not, but there's this fantasy series by Brandon Sanderson, and it's The Way of Kings.
Yeah, I've got the first 2 books under my belt.
And so there's this, Brandon Sanderson has this thing that he created which is called like a high storm, and it basically travels around the world. Yeah. And so like they have to like cultures, all these cultures of people, these civilizations, they all are like, they basically have like this whole like concept of, oh, we got a few days till the next high storm comes. Yeah. And their entire like their entire system is like based around these storms. That
Well, they're
come.
super destructive
Yeah,
too.
and so like they have to basically build these. They live in these places. They live in these cities that are basically like at any given moment they can just rush into the basically these into the earth or these stone structures and weather the storm out until it passes over. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's an interesting thing that happens with those high storms later on in the series. But I thought when we were talking about this whole like cyclical nature rather than the pendulum swing, you know,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that reminds me of the whole high storm.
Oh yeah.
Traveling around the earth.
Well, yeah, and then
or the world.
now there's this new storm.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure how far you were, far you were.
Yeah.
So now there's a new pendulum swinging.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, good series.
No spoiler.
Good series, but
yeah, that is a good one.
I think that he's playing around. He's probably playing around with the whole cyclic, pendulum swing.
Yeah.
You know.
So, speaking of succession of moods and feelings, Hermetists, by studying the operation of rhythm, have learned to escape some activities by transmutation.
Yeah.
So this one's interesting, and I'm not sure I totally get exactly what they're talking about, but we'll go through it and maybe.
And it's they're referencing the previous two chapters we did were vibration. We did vibration. The last one we did was polarity.
Mm-hmm.
The one before that we did that was vibration.
Yeah, and you're moving, so you're changing. Transmutation is just it's taking.
It's changing vibration.
Yeah. Because it's not taking something like okay, say lead to gold.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it has to be a stone, I guess, right? Or a metal.
Yeah. You can't
metal.
It can't be from lead to leaves.
It can't be. Yeah, you're not going to do a lead to a fish.
Correct.
Or something like that. It's transmutation of the same thing. So. Or on the same pole, or on the same vibration. See, this is where it's all relative. The swing, but this one's a swing, like where you can. It's swung one way, and then all of a sudden inevitably that swing is going to come back, and you have to do something to get out of the way.
Well, or you change your vibration. Yeah, so one way you can weather an economical storm is by changing the way you live and getting it so that when the economy collapses, you're actually, because of decisions you made years ago and preparing for it, you're actually immune to it in a way.
Yeah, think about the economic thing is that what everybody else is doing at the time, say the housing collapse.
Sure.
Buying houses, taking zero interest loans, all this stuff, Yeah. And so they're all getting caught up in that, and they're like, I'm actually making money. And then somebody who could see that would be like, instead they would buy a small house, and just keep paying on that, not keep on flipping houses and all that.
Correct. Yeah.
And then start saving money, and then not get caught. So whenever all of a sudden the housing prices collapse and people are underwater, this person is still, has weathered it.
I have a friend of a friend. Okay, so I don't even know the person.
I got caught up in that whole housing thing.
So did I. We both did.
Oh yeah.
Me and Mark have an experience with that. So, but anyways, I have a friend of a friend who I was kind of advising somebody through a friend recently. Right? And this person, who I don't know too well, but I know enough about them now, they have this issue where they kind of have this rhythm in their life where they continually go through, I think it's referred to as bipolarism. They continually will go through these mood swings that just destroy their life over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of helping this person through my... I'm now like a know-it-all.
He's
Hermetic.
A guru, man.
I'm now a know-it-all Hermetic, but at least Kybalionic. And so I was kind of advising this person, and in a way, I was like, so they can recognize this rhythm, they can recognize that it's going to happen again, right? So I was giving them advice of like, hey, so put yourself in a position where you're going to expect this to happen again, and you change the variables around you so that it's not going to basically like plan on having like let's say weather the storm. I was using the whole high storm example. I wasn't telling them about the high storm.
Girl, I have got a series you have to
read this book. No, but basically like, hey, so plan on try and predict when this is going to happen. It goes every 4 or 5 days. Okay, so in 4 or 5 days,
that's a pretty good cycle.
In 4 or 5 days, like take a day off of work. You know what I'm saying, and like try and change it up somehow, where like things are not the same anymore, and see if that works. And because you can't avoid the rhythm, but if you change the other variables that you do have control over, then you might not be as it might not hurt as much, or you might be just you could find a place that you're just completely like safe from the storm, you know. Because it's a friend of a friend, I don't really know how well that went for advice. But anyways,
he killed himself.
He's now gone. Anyways, it was a woman. But anyways, oh gosh. Everybody has different challenges. Some people that have like these moods that swing and move, oh my gosh, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Really difficult. So,
well, you know what? Usually the best thing for that kind of stuff is to
crawl under a rock.
And no, but to talk to a psychiatrist.
Yeah, don't talk to me about that.
Yeah, if you're talking to Brandon, come on.
You're in trouble.
You're gonna die.
But so there is this point, and that's what you were referring to, and I would like to know. I would like to understand it better about how to neutralize.
Okay, well, here I'll walk us through it.
Walk me through it.
But I don't totally get it. Well, and this is where okay. So
I'm gonna call my doctor tomorrow and like fire him because I'm gonna listen to what you're saying now. I don't have a doctor, by the way, but go ahead.
He's already been fired.
Yes.
Okay, so you basically have two planes of consciousness. There's a lower and a higher. Mm-hmm. So the lower is the unconscious, the higher is the conscious.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, the unconscious are those things that are just automatic.
Yeah, we have our
this might start making sense.
We have our serpent mind and our
reptile mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things that just automatically happen. So what they're saying the Hermetists do is that they rise to the higher plane, the conscious plane, whenever these things are happening in the lower unconscious.
And so a Buddhist would reword that as in they would be present in the moment.
Yeah.
And stop doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe that'll make sense. Is that if ever you've meditated, what you're doing is you're just trying to observe your thoughts.
Yep,
and you're seeing like, whoa.
Exhaling
yeah. But then all of a sudden, next thing you know, as you're trying to all you're trying to do is feel your breath, inhale and exhale. Next thing you know, your mind's thinking about something.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're like,
come back.
You're like, okay, back.
Yeah.
But you keep on seeing the cycle where your mind, the unconscious mind, is trying to bring you back into the. But the interesting thing about the Buddhist thing is, or about using the breath, I think, is that you're concentrating on an unconscious action.
It's a cheat.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's a cheat.
Because it's like, but by just actually focusing on the one thing that is a rhythm, and it's a rhythm in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
You're able to see though that your mind is all over the place too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't. So
I've often seen Buddhist philosophy as a lot of like, and I don't say this in a mean way at all. I think it's brilliant, but as a cheat. Like there's a lot of like just stop and be calm, and it's like, oh yeah, of course that's gonna work, you know, or the whole like I read a lot of books that are Buddhist or
how is that a cheat?
Because it's not like this big old system on how to weather the storm. It's just like this, like, just stop moving, just calm down.
Well,
like,
well, yeah, it doesn't.
go sit yourself in a corner somewhere and breathe. And of course, you're
Oh,
gonna,
okay. I see what you're saying. I think okay, because I think the idea is that you're working on the meditation on the pillow, for 10 minutes, and then you're supposed to take it into your life, where all of a sudden you'll start, like me, ranting about something, like, oh, I can't believe this, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, that's me. My mind's just going. They call it the monkey mind, where you're just, your mind is just is taking you down this thing, and then you're like, wait, I don't have to. I can concentrate back on the breath, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're not even thinking about that anymore. You get caught up in the rhythm. And
so a better word for cheat would be like a hack. Like, it's like, hey, this is...
Well, yeah, it's a hack, but it's a hack that the idea that that just sitting there and becoming a monk or whatever it's not practical.
No.
For most people. So if that's why the Western Hermetic system, they talk about it's kind of more meant for the Western mind, because it's more of a practical, like, oh, well, I want to keep on living my life, but being in the world, and but
you get that from, like, you
there's
get that from Stoic thought too.
Yeah, where you're just like, hey, you know what, you're going to be living, you're not, like, if you can't live, the main thing I think is, if you can't live in the world, or if you have to be in some kind of specialized thing, it's like, what's the practicality of it? Correct. Yeah, if you're just locked up in a closet, what's the point?
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so that does talk about the rhythm, where with meditation and stuff, or the unconscious, you're focusing on something, on one unconscious thing, your breath, and then you're able to see how your brain cycles and bring it back, and see that rhythm, that all of a sudden you'll be like thinking about, oh, I need to do this, oh, this person made me mad, and then you're like, you see the rhythm, because what happens is all of a sudden it starts swinging one way, your mind, and you can be carried way far, and then
that's good imagery there. Yeah, it's good imagery.
Yeah,
you're brilliant, Mark.
Thank you. It's something I just thought of. I was like, okay, a pendulum, like a clock, and it swings. Is this something I came up with?
Yeah, you just came up with it. Yeah.
So anyway, okay, so the idea is the planes of consciousness. You're rising. You're taking it from the unconscious, where you're rising up to conscious. So rise up to the higher plane to escape the rhythmic swing manifested on the lower. I don't know. But the way you do this is you allow the swing to happen on the lower without it affecting the higher. So that, I'm not sure. This is called the law of neutralization.
Neutralization, yeah.
So you're neutralizing by moving up to a higher plane somehow. But they're not, like I said, by, letting whatever happens on the unconscious happen, but not letting it affect you. Like, okay, how about this? Whenever, like, say I yelled something at you.
Okay.
That I call you a name.
Oh, what name?
That's not That's not just Brandon.
You call me like a jerk or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You, sir. No. But or I take off a glove and I smack you.
That would be really cool.
What's the initial thing? Regardless, I take off my glove. I'm like, you, sir, have offended me. Mm-hmm. And I slap you across the face with it. What happens right away in the unconscious?
Outside of starting to cry?
Well, I didn't slap you. It was
okay.
A solid slap, but not a hard one. But I'm saying inside your body, you're like, suddenly your heart, boom, ba-doom,
Yeah.
ba-doom. You probably get adrenaline. There's
Yeah.
probably some anger, like what?
Yeah.
Like you feel that blowing up in you.
My fist is like immediately clenching.
Yeah, you probably tighten up. There's all these unconscious things that just automatically happen.
It wouldn't be too many milliseconds before I was like in the air.
You'd take
like
off your glove and
kick.
say, "I challenge you to a duel, sir." Slap me with the thing. But what's the automatic thing? There's the action I do, and there's the reaction, and it's an unconscious thing that suddenly you're like, so what in this example, you have a choice to go with those feelings that are just automatically in you, or to use your conscious and say, breathe.
And you break the rhythm.
Break that rhythm. Yeah. So what? So the unconscious has already happened. Your body is pulsing. You're ready. Gosh, I want to. We are gonna duel pistols at noon. You know, that's your body's geared you up for that. But then you have a choice whether you react to that.
Yep. That's
so
also,
there it is. Taking okay.
That's
this
also
makes
taken.
sense.
I call this the taking it like a man perspective. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes into the whole Buddhist thing that I was talking about earlier.
Ooh.
Okay. The reason why is because, one of the things I like about Buddhism, at least this branch of it that I've read up on a lot, is there's this concept called the charnel ground.
Charnel ground?
Charnel ground.
Is that a? You sure that's not a Pokemon?
No. So
is that where the Charizard?
No.
trains?
So the
On the
charnel
charnel
ground
ground.
in Tibet, the ground is too hard and icy for them to like bury their dead. So they have these places called charnel grounds, where they take the dead, and it's basically they're basically carrion birds, and like vultures will basically take care of it. All right.
Yeah.
And that's the charnel ground. And so one of the things that some branches of this Tibetan Buddhism will do is they will go out in order to gain mastery of themselves, they'll go and sit in the charnel ground, and they'll have to like keep their composure, and
while these vultures are trying to pick
yeah,
at
and
them.
it's like they want to just vomit and just like
where all the dead bodies are, you're saying.
Yeah. And it's like this horrible condition, right? And no one wants to be there.
Yeah.
But when you go there, and then when you can find peace while in the most worst place possible.
You know
what I'm
saying?
saying?
So you're fighting that reaction. Your body's like, I gotta get out of here.
And then and then it's over and you go, right? But the problem is we have a very flighty culture and society where like we want to just run from everything. Right?
Yeah.
And so
uncomfortable,
the more we run,
you can remove yourself from it.
The more we run, we're not actually taking it like a man and just like letting it beat us down and then go away, and it's over with. We run and run and run, and it's continually following us everywhere we go.
Yeah,
right?
you never learn from it or overcome.
Correct. Like if there was
even move up the vibration. So it's like it could just. Those things could just pass under us,
Sure.
like a river flowing, or we could, stand through it and eventually.
Well, that's one of the ways that as I was trying to understand this whole like how using the principle of rhythm to avoid the pain. As I was thinking about like in the eye of a storm, like a hurricane, because if you understand that the hurricane, the movement, then you can actually, if you stand in the right place, you're going to be not
the eye
subject
is supposed
to
to be
the
all
storm.
calm.
Yeah, you're not going to be subject to the storm because you're actually moving with the storm.
That'd be cool. Like you're just like staying in that,
just
moving the whole way.
But the backpack.
But there's all this destruction going on you. That's like the master thing, like you can imagine like this master walking through and he's just like,
Yeah, true. I see. I get that imagery there. But then there's also this concept of, like, let's say there was a sickness, like a sickness, and people were like trying to like avoid the sickness. continually trying to avoid it, it's eventually going to come around, and you're going to get sick.
Yeah.
You might as well just get sick right away. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
And take care. In a Hermetic view, increase your stamina, increase your health, get sick, let your body fight it off, and then it's gone, and you're not spending the next 5 years running away from your sickness.
Yeah. Yeah, there comes a point. But like you're saying, though, you have to build up that.
You can't do it. You
don't just go freaking hang out with lepers.
You can't do it flippantly. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you work on, but that's part of the cycle or the swing where you're like, what you're doing is you're doing your best to be healthy, to exercise, eat right, all these things that are gonna help you.
Yeah, I guess you really can't get away from just personal responsibility. Like, hey, I see the way that it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. Do I want to be subject to it?
Yeah.
Or do I want it to...
Well, and that's you have to be personal responsibility for yourself.
That's the Stoic approach. The Stoicism in there is like you just
So anyway,
I can't control it.
So the law of neutralization, raising ego above vibrations of the unconscious so that the negative swing is not manifested in the consciousness and therefore not affected.
Yeah, I derailed us on that. Sorry about that. But yes, I like the imagery there of the lifting your mind up so that you're not as you don't drift off with
Well, I think it made more sense once we talked about it, because then the thing, because I was like, what? The unconscious, the conscious? But your unconscious body is going to automatically do certain things.
Yeah,
but you have a choice whether you're going to act or react.
The unconsciousness is you're just subject to what's happening around you and constantly reacting.
Here, read this part, Brandon.
All individuals...
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got a different version than me.
I think I went ahead of you, though.
Whoa, you're so far. You're advanced. Here, you can read mine.
Okay, yeah, we're all individuals?
Yeah.
All individuals who have attained any degree of self-mastery accomplish this, more or less unknowingly, and by refusing to allow their moods and negative mental states to affect them, then apply the law of neutralization. The master, however...
So this is the difference. But there's tons
of
people that have already done this, that this is a common thing. If you know anybody who has any kind of self-mastery, who's disciplined, they already know the principle.
Yeah, they've done it. They've done it out of survival.
Without realizing it.
Yeah, their way of survival has done that for them. The master, however, carries us to a much higher degree of proficiency, and by the use of his will, he attains a degree of poise and mental firmness almost impossible of belief on the part of those who allow themselves to be swung backward and forward by the mental pendulum of moods and feelings.
I like that. Like, people are like, how? Like, they're just watching this, whoever this master is. Yeah, and I've had that where you're like, how does this person do this? Like, I would be raving, yelling, so upset. And then all of a sudden there's this person that's just like, where somebody's, say confronting them about something or whatever, or being, very mean to them or whatever. And they're just like, I see, how you, whatever. And you're just like, how?
Yeah, it's almost like they just refuse to let it carry them away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is like, that's a superpower, I think.
You got a few stars in there.
Oh, dude, stars.
Stars are important.
Well, by use of his will, he attains a degree of poise and mental firmness. Mental firmness, I like that.
Yeah.
There's like, okay.
Which people who are so subject to the back and forward of the pendulum swing, they can't even believe it.
Like, people are just, I just love allow themselves to be swung backward and forward by the mental pendulum. Like, they're just getting hit. Both it's swinging this way, boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden there's this guy who's just like, and people are trying to goad him or her into, like trolls or whatever on the internet, or
Sure.
let's just say, who are just typing stuff just to get a reaction, and it works. People react. People that don't react, it's kind of like the whole idea: ignore them and they'll go away. That doesn't always work, but
No.
they can do, whether they go away or not, if you're not letting it affect you, if you have that mental firmness, that's huge. Okay, let's see. The importance of this will be appreciated by any thinking person who realizes what creatures of moods, feelings, and emotion the majority of people are, and how little mastery of themselves they manifest. Think about the world.
We talked about that a little while ago. Yeah.
Think about political.
Oh my gosh! Don't even.
I'm just saying.
It's hard to not talk
think
about
about
it.
and we don't even need to talk about. You can just say
turbulence.
Everybody,
it's just like a freaking hurricane out there.
Yeah, like think about what creatures of mood, feelings, emotions the majority of people are, and you can see how little mastery they have of themselves.
Yeah,
that is manifest. How much mastery is being manifest out there in the world? I know in my life, there's none. It's hard, and it's hard for me to even get any kind of mastery. So you can look at other people, but read the orange part, Brandon.
All right,
because this is where we bring it to ourselves.
This is a star here.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you read something.
If you will stop and consider a moment, you will realize how much of these swings of rhythm have affected you in your life. How a period of enthusiasm has been invariably followed by an opposite feeling and mood of depression. Likewise, your moods and periods of courage have been succeeded by equal moods of fear.
I like this. One of the reasons I highlighted it was because it was like looking at the majority, which I like to, is always easy to point at. Mm-hmm. Look what everybody else is doing.
Look what it's done.
Look what the side, and then it goes back to us. Hey, think about yourself. Sometimes you have that high energy. You're just like, oh my gosh, I'm going for it. Yeah, But then there's always the inevitable swing where, what's life all about? Like,
and so
it's ups and downs.
And that's the thing is, so do some math. Like, hey, this is a great moment right here. Like this is a good. I'm at a high. Mm-hmm. Which means
that's at some point
it's going to end, and then there's going to be a low.
Yeah.
And so let me be ready for the low.
I think one of the keys is being
or not refuse to go to the low.
Yeah.
Refuse to let the low.
Or just say, hey, or realize when that low is coming.
Buffer yourself up.
You know what? Things will get better, or things have been better, and being like a little grateful.
This is probably an individual by individual strategy that would need to happen.
Yeah.
But the point is when the pendulum swing returns, come up with some system in some way, whether it's lifting your mind up, like it was mentioned here, or kind of going the more like buffering yourself against the storm.
It's kind of like
whatever way you have to do it.
Like, so as sands to the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Yeah, are you quoting something right now?
Yeah, it was from that show Days of Our Lives, that old soap opera.
Oh, got it. It sounded familiar. I'm like, where is that from? Okay.
But no, this is definitely an individual thing, and all this stuff is have to get comfortable with the ideas and then apply them however you see fit. Like a master or an initiate.
Yeah, an initiate.
This is how they see it, the basics, but you need to personalize it because we're all different.
Yeah, you're special. You can have your own way of doing it.
every grain of sand is different.
Is that a real thing?
It's got to be. There's no way they're any the same. Every snowflake is individual?
No, you're right. You're right. It wouldn't make sense if they were. You're right.
It's like sands through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. You know what I'm talking about?
Now that you mentioned earlier.
Like, didn't you just say that? Like, that quote's going to work somewhere. So the tides of feeling have ever risen and fallen, but they have never suspected the cause or reason of mental phenomenon. So this is talking about people that they don't that most of us have these rising and falling feelings, but we don't even begin to fathom why. But we let it all affect us. We're just like, I'm mad now. That person made me mad, you know. So, understanding the workings of this principle will give one the key to the mastery of these rhythmic swings of feeling and will enable him or her to know himself better and to avoid being carried away by the inflows and outflows. That's like, I mean, if that's powerful, because, you know, there's the madness of crowds, mobs.
Yeah.
You know, you can get carried away. Next thing you know, you're somewhere where you're just like, I don't even know. Like, and things can get nasty real quick.
Like a real, like
you never know.
You would always consider yourself an intelligent, thinking person, and all of a sudden you're doing things like, whoa.
Yeah.
That hasn't ever happened to me, but I'm sure that...
Yeah, I've heard of it happening to people. So, although this is important, although the principle of rhythm can never be destroyed, it's something that's inevitable. You can't stop it. That swing's going to happen. You may escape its effects.
One of the other things that the principle of rhythm kind of means two different things, and one of them isn't really touched upon too much.
What?
It refers to the whole like the ebb and flow, right?
Yeah, the back and forth.
But it also has this concept of the distance that it goes that way. It has to come the same distance back.
Is this going along with compensation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you had much to say on that.
This is where I started underlining stuff.
Okay.
Underlining it instead of, because I was like, no, the compensation's interesting because it's the counter. They use it, the counterbalance. So what do you have to?
Well, it has to do with what we were talking about earlier. On the last video that we did was polarity, right? And remember how we talked about how the thing is there's the slide on the pole.
Yeah.
Right. You just can't just go from point A. You can't. There at no point does the temperature rise from 70 to 80. It goes to 71 to 72 to 73. Right?
Yeah. Unless you got a really good air conditioner.
Yeah, but even right, you know, it never can jump to the 70 to 80. It has to slide on the pole. It has to go in the direction.
Yeah.
Right. And so we talked about that, and basically, in order to change, we talked about how we can change ourselves. And so, you just don't all of a sudden like, I want to not be an angry person anymore. Okay, I'm not angry anymore. You have to work at going the direction of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, the law of in the law of compensation in respect to rhythm, if I was to just like next week just crash and burn and enter into a deep depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to bring myself out of that.
Is this a call for help, Brandon?
No, it could be.
Do you need me to call you next week?
It could be. Don't talk about it because I'm almost ready to break into tears.
Like, please just reach out to me next week.
But if I crash and burn and I tank and I just like go down the drain, I have the trip out of the drain and back up is the same. I don't get a cheat and all of a sudden like I'm back to normal again.
Well, unless you're bipolar.
Well, yeah.
Then you might be like have that serious swing.
But like what I'm saying is the law of rhythm, the principle of rhythm,
Yeah.
follows compensation.
Yeah, you've fallen this far, so you're gonna need to
You're gonna have to
your
work
way
yourself
back
out of
up.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just can't just like transport out of it. And so that's something that when we crash and burn in life, we're often, at least myself, I make the mistake of often not like I'm crashing and burning anyways. I'm gonna crash and burn hard.
I'm going all the way.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people make the mistake and not worrying about like the amount of work it's gonna take to get out of that.
Yeah, you dig yourself in a deeper hole. Yeah.
And we can go back to finances again. You dig yourself into a hole.
It's gonna be hard getting
Yeah,
out.
sometimes it's a monster to get out of that. And there's no like
even shortcuts like bankruptcy or something.
Sure,
is not an
you
easy
still have
path.
to pay for it somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe
if
not.
you have
Maybe,
student loans, forget about it.
Yeah, if you have student loans, forget it.
You will never get forgiveness for those loans.
Yeah.
Like that's the craziest thing.
Anyway,
but it's think about something like a degree that's worthless. You can't find any kind of loan forgiveness for. It'll follow you through for the rest of your life.
I think Mark's referring to me, but yeah.
Why do you got a lot of student debt?
Yeah, I took out loans when I was getting my useless degree.
Well, I'm saying something that's not okay. I don't mean it that way.
That hurt, man. I'm ready to crash and burn now. I'm going to crash and burn now.
Brandon, something that's actual intangible and intangible.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Sure.
I don't mean worthless, but
my degree,
and that somehow the government set it up to where you can be forgiven of all these different things, but something that's
your house.
All this stuff, but education will follow you till the day you die.
Yeah, like, even if it doesn't even help you.
How did they come up with that? That's what I'm saying. That's what I meant.
Yeah, useless. Yeah.
No, I'm saying it doesn't help everybody.
Correct. That's a good point, man. I never thought of it that way. We have these
systems
it's because
in place it's an intangible, so they're like, well, we can't take it back. Maybe that's why. Because it's not like a car where they can take your car. They can do that. They can't take your degree back. They can't take what you've learned.
They can you have to work at Circle K. They can make it not use it.
Okay. Now we're going. I'm going off.
Sorry if you work at Circle K.
Okay.
I actually know someone that works at Circle K.
There's nothing wrong with working at Circle K.
I love Circle K.
Hey, I go there all the time.
Yeah, I love Circle K.
It's on the way. Only at Circle K.
Is it a quick trip?
I go there too. So, okay, the law of compensation, counterbalance. I like what they say. This is kind of the thing that we were talking. The man who enjoys keenly is subject to keen suffering. He who feels little pain is capable of feeling but little joy. The amount that you feel. But they want to make sure that this isn't like inevitably. If you have a great time, what's going to happen in the future next is you're going to suffer you're going to suffer as much as you
were never
had
alive.
Had joy. I mean, no, that's not what they're saying. They're taking this. Where do they say it? Where they. The law of compensation is ever in operation, even though several lives may be required for the return swing of the pendulum, the pendulum of rhythm. So it's a bigger thing. It's not necessarily that this swing is just like they're using that as a visualization, but It's not necessarily that it's inevitable. You're just gonna suffer so hard, dude. Hey, Brandon, enjoy it now, man, because you're headed for a world of hurt. Dude, because I'm drinking this Diet Dr. Pepper right now, it's ice cold, tastes great. I'm gonna be drinking acid later. But I mean, but the basic idea is that before one is able to enjoy a certain degree of pleasure, he must have swung far, somewhere proportional to the other end of the pole. That it's that idea that you wouldn't know joy if you had never known suffering.
Yeah.
And that's true. It's like that's part of this duality, the dual nature, is that it makes, or the good and evil, whatever, you wouldn't know good if you didn't know evil.
Yeah.
So
we mentioned that earlier on too, or you did mention it earlier.
Partake of the tree, man.
Yeah.
Eat of it. But it's all relative. But you can escape some of the effects, and this is the thing. They're not saying you totally escape, but you can escape some of the effects by using neutralization.
So the hard part about neutralization is it's kind of bleak in a way.
Why?
Because you have to treat both sides the same. And this is where you get into the stoicism of where stoicism comes in. Is in order to neutralize the pendulum swing, you have to like we're given this imagery of like the good times and the bad times.
Yeah. Yeah.
The neutralize, it means you have to like be above the good times as well.
Ooh. Don't get caught up in the good times either.
Neutralization doesn't mean like only just having the good times and somehow
Brandon's
cheating out of the bad times.
Yeah. Dang it.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what neutralization means. It means like, you've ever heard of Meister Eckhart?
You've talked about him, yeah.
Meister Eckhart has these 5. Well, the Corpus Hermeticum talks about it too. Corpus Hermeticum basically says it mentions how there's a few parts where it mentions how the all doesn't lack anything. But because it doesn't lack anything, it doesn't need anything either.
Yeah.
Right? And so Meister Eckhart has these 5 virtues that I've taught my kids, and I quiz them on them every day because they're hard to remember. And then the last 4 and 5 are kind of tough to comprehend. But the 5 virtues that he talks about are, the first one is to not let your passions take over.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
To not have excuses is number 2. Ooh. Don't have excuses. Number 3 is let the world be as it is. Like, accept that it is as it is, and you can't, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like the more of a Buddhist.
That's
Buddhist
a toughie.
Way. Yeah. And the 4th one is don't let the bad times bring you down. And the 5th one is don't let the good times bring you up. Right?
Yeah.
So,
we all know those people that fall. But
Meister Eckhart was a monk. So it kind of makes a little bit more sense. Like, don't get up. Don't let it bring you up either. Like, be the neutralize that. But so if you don't want to fall, you might have to sacrifice some of the rises.
Yeah.
As well, because what goes up must come down.
That's true.
And that's what neutralization really is about. Is like, if you're going to prevent the fall, then skip out on the rise.
Mm-hmm. Well, they say no one can keep his penny and have a bit of cake too. You're gonna have to pay for.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, true.
You got to give something up to gain something.
Yeah, so like if you can be happy on crumbs, then do it.
Well, or just live moderately. That's what
This all returns to like being balanced.
Yeah, the thing is that you don't want to be swinging to the extreme. If you can, if you can live in the middle, I think that you can enjoy, and you can
Yeah, I'm subject to the pendulum swing, but my pendulum does this. It's very like, you can limit it.
It like doesn't even look like it's moving.
It's like it's barely a move. It's not a roller coaster like woo. And
Yeah.
but then, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, that's the law of compensation. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about it. Meister Eckhart, though.
Meister Eckhart, man. I've been
And
reading.
you said
I've been
that
reading
that's
his book.
the guy, Eckhart guy that
Eckhart Tolle renamed himself
is
after that.
Popular now.
Yeah.
Is
Eckhart Tolle isn't. That's not his actual name. He renamed himself like a lot of people that feel like they've been reborn in a certain way of
he felt like he was reborn.
Well, he's definitely his life. If you read any of his books, Eckhart Tolle was in a dark part of life, and then he came out of it.
Okay.
And has changed, and so he also renamed himself.
Oh, so he came out. He renamed himself. It's a kind of a rebirth, kind of a new person.
Yeah, Meister Eckhart was like a Franciscan monk near the end of the Crusades, 1200-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one. My favorite quote from him is when he basically said, in a nutshell, paraphrased.
He was in a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell, my favorite quote from Eckhart Tolle is that truth is so important that if God turned from it, then he would let God go and stick with the truth.
If God turned from the truth?
Yeah. But anyways, I don't have anything else to say. I think I did a lot of interpretation on that
That's
chapter.
Fine.
But yeah.
No, it's okay. So here I'll just leave you with the axiom.
Yeah, cool.
At the end, because actually this one was kind of weird. So the laws of balance and counterbalance are in operation on the mental as well as on the physical planes, and an understanding of these laws enables one to seem to overthrow laws. Seem to overthrow. Whereas he is merely exerting a counterbalance.
He's hacking
So people are not using magic.
No.
It just seems that way, that they're breaking the law, but they're just using a counterbalance.
They're just doing like a hacky way. They figure it out.
Yeah,
I guess it's not a hack if you're doing it on purpose or if it works.
It's just like, hey, I know how the law works. Counterbalance.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
We'll be going.
We're getting close to being done, by the way.
Yeah. We got causation.
Yeah,
cause and effect. And then gender.
And so the Kybalion does 2 chapters of gender, right?
Yeah, and it's a pretty big...
Gender will blow your mind.
Yeah, because this is not gender that people are fighting about.
It is and isn't.
Well,
no.
Whenever we get into it.
It will blow our minds.
Brandon said that this was one of the biggest things that changed his mind, or that if the whole thing, the Kybalion, the gender thing, was the biggest influence. Or how do I?
It's what sold me on it.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, I've never thought of things this way.
Yeah,
that was it. Okay, so anyway, we'll see you next time, and
talk to you later. Thanks.